Some pessimism is finally starting to creep its way into the housing market. Here's what it means for you. Only 30% of Americans believe it's a good time to buy a house, and 45% of them think that we're in a housing bubble that could pop as soon as this year. These concerns are a constant media talking point and have only gotten worse as home prices continue to soar. These fears are understandable, though. The 2008 housing crisis wasn't that long ago, and most people remember how devastating it was. However, those worried about a 2008 style collapse may be better served looking a little further in the past for how today's market might shake out. The 2008 bubble was characterized by deregulation and low lending standards. These subprime mortgages had adjustable rates with features like being able to borrow more than the home's initial value and ultra-low teaser rates that stepped up significantly after a set period of time. Eventually, home prices did cool off, but those subprime loans got more and more expensive for borrowers, and people couldn't afford their payments, and they didn't have the equity to refinance out of these terrible loans, leading to over 6 million foreclosures. Today, there are far more consumer safeguards in place, and homeowners have a lot more equity in their homes. This means that they can absorb a decrease in home prices without losing all of their home equity, and also have the opportunity to refinance if need be. So even if prices fell 5 to 10%, most homeowners would still have the equity and few would be under financial distress. Instead, it makes a little more sense to look at the housing market between 79 and 82. This period was characterized by inflation that's even higher than today's, with consumer price growth peaking at 13.5% in 1980. And the Fed increased the federal funds rate in a bid to control inflation, much like they are today. Mortgage rates climbed to a high of 18.63% in 1981 before starting a slow and steady decline. Now, side note, I often see this as an argument that these recent rate increases just don't matter. They're inconsequential because they were way higher 40 years ago. Houses aren't 72 grand anymore. So as professionals in this industry, let's find a better argument. Anyhow, another similarity to that period is demographic-led demand. Like millennials today, in 1979, the boomer generation was the largest ever cohort to enter the housing market. This drove a massive demand similar to what we're seeing now. And there are already signs that a similar gradual decline is happening as sales of new homes in the U.S. plummeted to the slowest rate that they've been in 2 years. Buyers are squaring up against rising interest rates and the fastest home price growth in decades, putting downward pressure on demand. This sounds scary. It sounds bad, but this can actually be a good thing. So what does this mean for those worried about a housing bubble similar to 2008? Well, the data shows that some doubt is finally making its way into market activity. And as buyers become more wary and demand begins to cool, the less likely a bubble scenario becomes. So if you have questions about whether or not it's a good time to buy, it depends solely on your situation, but we can help guide your decision. Give us a call. We're happy to help you create a game plan. This is Ryan G. with Mortgage Right Folsom. I look forward to helping you out.